It is 11 minutes past 7. Let's take you back to our main story this morning. And earlier this morning, the second round in the fight for the White House took place with a town hall-style debate in St. Louis.
In the red corner, Republican contender Donald Trump, who was assumed would be on the ropes following the release of a video where he made obscene comments about women. In the blue corner, Democratic heavyweight Hillary Clinton faced having to take it on the chin over her leaked Wall Street speeches that showed her dreaming of open trade and open borders. They pulled no punches. Let's have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican nominee for President, Donald J. Trump, and the Democratic nominee for President, Hillary Clinton.
This was locker room talk.
I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you
getting brought up the emails?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
I take responsibility for using a personal email account. Obviously, if I were to do it over again, I would not. I'm not making any excuses.
Would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald.
She does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.
So is it even possible to say who won? Let's speak to the political analyst Eric Ham, who joins us now from our Washington newsroom. Morning to you. Thanks. I know you will have spent many hours watching, thinking about all of this. The tone of it was quite extraordinary, wasn't it, at the beginning?
Absolutely. This will probably go down as one of the nastiest, one of the most brutal debates that we've seen in the modern day era. You had one candidate on one side who was doing what he desperately needed to do to stop the bleeding. And you had Hillary Clinton, who came out swinging, trying to go for that knockout blow, which I don't think she got. But Donald Trump, make no mistake, he is still on the ropes today.
Oh, why do you say that, Eric?
Well, because I think his campaign is still in crisis. I think there are still questions regarding the comments that he made about women. And also keep in mind, right before the debate, he had this very bizarre press conference with women who have accused Bill Clinton of harassment back in the 90s. And so I think what that is going to do is there are some instances where that I think that could overshadow this debate. But I still think it puts more questions on Donald Trump and continues to, I think, bog down his level of fitness to be president. And I don't think it will necessarily keep many Republicans from fleeing his candidacy.
OK, let's talk about Hillary Clinton, because he has again been critical, particularly over the emails. How is that playing for her?
Well, I do believe that the email issue is going to plague her candidacy until November 8th. And also, she dodged a bullet because there's this WikiLeaks revelation of her leaked transcripts came out. But even though it was addressed tonight, and I don't think she handled it well, but I do think she's getting a pass because Donald Trump is sucking so much oxygen out of the room because of the crisis and some of the very vulgar and lewd comments that are being addressed right now that he made more than a decade ago. It's
interesting, isn't it? Because there were undecided voters in that room as part of this debate. How does that sort of level of discussion and what so there's not, there is talk about policy, but that's not the main event, is it?
That's right. And actually, for many undecided voters, that's actually what they're looking for right now. And also keep in mind, back in 2012, more than 30% of the electorate that went to the polls, they actually went to the polls before November 8th. So voting in the United States has actually started. And so what we're looking at now is many people actually going to the polls right now. And so this race could already be decided. And so if Donald Trump wants to try to change the trajectory, tonight was his best chance, I think, to begin to do that. And unfortunately, I don't think he did, because both he and Hillary are going after a very narrow sliver of voters right now, and that's the white college educated voter, particularly white college educated women. And I think the comments that we're seeing by Donald Trump is not going to do a lot to embolden this campaign, particularly with those voters.
He does. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because in response to the tape, he was, came straight out on Twitter. He, confronts this head on.
He did. And he said it was locker room talk. He apologized for it. But I think many people still have questions about his reputation and about his level of fitness to be commander in chief. I think much of Donald Trump's his Playboy antics and his past was baked in, but I do believe these comments in particular, I think, were very disturbing, and because they go along the lines of potentially sexual assault. And that's what's, I think, so disturbing for so many people. And when you consider that the key vote that is up for grab for both he and Hillary Clinton at this point is the suburban women in areas of many of these battleground states. So suburban women in Ohio, in Florida, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina. And those are the voters that he is going to need if he's going to be competitive come November 8th.
Eric Ham, thank you very much for your time from Washington, your analysis. Thank you.